Good evening. The images that I'm about to show you will fill your hearts with joy. The Tricolour flying high on the Chenab Railway Bridge. It's an engineering marvel. It's the world's highest railway bridge at 359 meters above the Chenab River. And you must see those images. This is a bridge that's actually taller. It's higher than the Eiffel Tower by 35 meters. It makes it the tallest railways bridge across the world. 1,315 meter length, and that includes a 467 meter main arch span. It's one of its kind, and it connects Kashmir by rail. It's been a dream of the people of Jammu and Kashmir for decades. In fact, Jammu Kashmir Chief Minister Umar Abdullah, he said even the British were trying to connect Uri by train and they didn't succeed. But the images that you see there, Prime Minister Narendra Modi waving that tricolour with great pride. It sends across a very important message, not just to the people of Jammu and Kashmir and the rest of the country, but across the world. It also sends out a message militarily and strategically, and that's our top focus story on India First.
Modi's Mission Kashmir. Prime Minister waves Tiranga on Chenab Bridge. Prime Minister's first Jammu and Kashmir visit post Operation Sindoor. Loudest message to Pakistan.
यहाँ के नौजवानों को सपने पूरा करने से कोई भी बाधा अगर रुकावट बनती है तो उस बाधा को पहले मोदी का सामना करना पड़ेगा.
Big connectivity and strategic boost. That is our top focus on India First.
Join the dots. Article 370 removed barriers, even if they were psychological barriers. Operation Sindoor, it sent out a very clear message to a state sponsor of radical Islamist terror and also to countries that sponsor a state sponsor of radical Islamist terror. And this Chenab Railways Bridge, it's building bridges for a Naya Kashmir in a Naya Bharat. And that's our top focus story on this.
तो उस बाधा को पहले मोदी का सामना करना पड़ेगा.
With strong words and stronger resolve, the Prime Minister made it clear that India, under his leadership, will help transform Jammu and Kashmir from a valley of conflict into a cradle of opportunity. Bureau Report, India Today.
From a valley of conflict, a valley in turmoil, to a valley of opportunity, peace and development. Let's talk a little more about this Chenab Railways Bridge. It is an engineering marvel, the tallest in the world, taller than the Eiffel Tower. It's also a strategic asset of the country that will help movement when required of troops, defense, logistics, and it's built in a very high security zone. It's also a very sensitive zone in Riyasi. Now, the bridge is actually built to survive seismic zone pressures, can withstand very high wind speeds. Our reporters on ground get you more in this report.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first visit to Jammu and Kashmir after the Pahalgam terror attack. It was a clear message to the enemies of India. Modi waved the tricolour at the Chenab Rail Bridge, which he unveiled, reiterating India's stand that the nation will not bow down to terror. The Prime Minister inaugurated a slew of projects. Modi flagged off the Vande Bharat trains that will link Kashmir to Qatar.
We are on board the first Vande Bharat train which is now travelling from Qatar to Srinagar, and this is the Chenab Railway Bridge which has now been constructed using various technologies. It is one arch bridge and this is above 359 meter above the Chenab River, which is taller than Eiffel Tower. This is a 272-kilometer long rail network which has more than 38 tunnels.
The game-changer gateway to the Kashmir Valley is like a dream come true. The Chenab Rail Bridge, an engineering marvel, is set to become a tourist favorite.
चेनाब ब्रिज एफिल टावर से भी बहुत ऊंचा है। चेनाब ब्रिज हो या फिर अंजी ब्रिज, ये जम्मू की और कश्मीर की दोनों क्षेत्रों की समृद्धि का जरिया बनेंगे।
The bridge that took decades to complete is a testament to India's growing capabilities in infrastructure and innovation. The bridge will revive local economies, open doors to tourism, boosting the economy of Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir CM Omar Abdullah lauded the Modi government's infra push in the valley and remembered that the Chenab River project was started when he was in class 8.
जब ये प्रोजेक्ट शुरू हुआ मैं 8वीं क्लास का बच्चा था। आज मेरी उम्र 55 हो गई है, मेरे बच्चे भी कॉलेज पार कर गए हैं। अब जाके ये प्रोजेक्ट मुकम्मल हुआ। इस प्रोजेक्ट से जम्मू कश्मीर को भरपूर फायदा होगा, लोगों का आना जाना रहेगा, टूरिज्म से इसको फायदा होगा, यहाँ के रहने वालों को फायदा होगा।
The bridge, a standing example of India's prosperity, and Modi vowed to continue this drive. The Chenab Rail Bridge and the Vande Bharat train service are a milestone in the region's transformation to Naya Kashmir. With Piyush Mishra and Mir Fareed, Bureau Report, India Today.
It's being hailed as the bridge of development, the bridge of India's resolve, the bridge that promises a bright future, but unable to bridge the political divide. And we have three different perspectives on this special broadcast. Dr. Shama Mohammed of the Congress, Tausif Shah of the PDP, RP Singh of the BJP. But before politics, let's talk to Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon. General Tiny Dhillon is former Director General of Defence Intelligence Agency and former Kashmir Corps Commander, on the strategic significance of this bridge. General, you've commanded the Kashmir Corps. You've also served as a young lieutenant. You've commanded your company, your battalion, your brigade. What does this bridge mean for the people of Jammu and Kashmir?
Good evening, Gaurav, and good evening to all your viewers. See, this bridge, Chenab Bridge, and the affiliated tunnels which are taking the train from Qatar to Srinagar, it's a brought out by you in the preamble. It's a very strategic significance it has, and for the development of the region, as also to aligning the region towards the rest of India. You know, rivers and mountains are psychological barriers. And it has been, through the human history, there have been always psychological barriers. And once you make tunnels and bridges, that joins people, the heart, that join people from the development point of view, and integration as a national culture. Now, coming to the strategic and military importance of it. As you see, as a young lieutenant or captain, as you are referring to, I used to travel from Srinagar to Jammu in more than 12 to 14 hours by a military bus. And today, if we have cut down the timing from Qatar to Srinagar and subsequently from Jammu to Srinagar to 1/4, I think that is some very, very big achievement. And more so because this road from Jammu, Udhampur, Ramban, Banihal, Srinagar is very prone to weather conditions.
Yes.
Half the time during winters, the convoy or the traffic moves only one way. That means either the up convoy or the down convoy. That would restrict your movement to an alternate day. And there are so many landslides, especially in the Ramban area, that the road traffic or the road travel was very, very uncertain. And from the military point of view, if you are in operations and there is some sort of a conflict going on the borders, your convoys movement, your logistics coming up have to be 100% assured. Now
General,
we have the road movement, and this will
yes.
also reduce the traffic on the roads because most of the people will now travel by train. The road congestion will reduce, the logistics can move faster by road. We have alternate route of moving the trains, and of course the air travel or the air movement is possible. So as a
But
military
General, what I
man
want
and
to
a person who
understand
has
from
commanded
you,
a corps in Kashmir,
yes.
it is a great significance, and it will enhance our strategical and military confidence and the capabilities within the Kashmir Valley to a large extent, without going into the tactical and strategic details.
You know, when I interviewed you when you were commanding the corps immediately after the Pulwama terror attack, that convoy was moving on the road which was targeted by those terrorists, Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists in Kashmir, that VBIED, vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. What I want to understand from you is, will this train be as vulnerable, first to terrorists and second to Pakistani drones or missiles or aircraft?
Gaurav, since I was involved in the planning of security for this train when I was a corps commander, and again not going into the details of the strategic things, all those aspects which you have spoken about, and in addition to that, many other, have been taken into consideration, and a very well laid out security plan for the rail movement has been worked out. And by now it would have been even more honed up or more polished. And I can assure you the train movement will be very, very secure, not only from the terrorist angle, also from the enemy's angle. So be rest assured on that, those aspects have been taken care of and covered.
General, the Prime Minister's message was extremely significant. In Pahalgam, Hindus were singled out. They were killed after asking them their religion. Was this to trigger, as he said, communal rights in India? And can the terrorists attempt that once again? And that will once again derail the Kashmir growth story.
Gaurav, Kashmir growth story has now got into a phase where it is self-sustaining. Small hiccups will come, but it is irreversible now because the stakeholders, the Awam of Kashmir, the people of Kashmir, the students of the Kashmir, the job seekers of Kashmir, the self-employed people of Kashmir have tasted the dividends of peace. In a house where there used to be, रात की रोटी के लाले पड़े होते थे, वहां पे अभी शाम को घर में बाप और बेटा मिलके 2-3 हजार रुपया कमा कर लाते हैं. So that family और उनका छोटा बच्चा है जो स्कूल जाता है, जहां पे कोई हड़ताल नहीं हो रही है. So that family would never want Kashmir to go back to those black days. So Kashmir's development, Kashmir's progress is irreversible with these type of linkages happening now. The psychological barriers will also diminish over a period of time. And as I always say, economics drives peace. And when the economic activity in Kashmir will go up, the peace will go up.
And how long before that terror-enabling ecosystem, before I bring in a political guest, I want to understand from you, this terror-enabling ecosystem in Kashmir, the ones who fund either stone pelters or the ones who shield terrorists, like the, Pulwama terror attack, because even the Pahalgam terrorists are still at large. Those people who shield such elements, how long before they are rooted out?
Gaurav, there are two aspects to your question. One is, no terrorism can sustain itself without the local support. Yes. And as I answered in my previous question, with the economic development happening, with the progress happening, infrastructure becoming better, the tourism growing, the agro industry growing, and also the children getting better education, better job creation, all those things will make sure the local support will wean away slowly and slowly. Even today, there are only 20% local terrorists, 80% are Pakistani terrorists. That only shows how much support the terrorism has in Kashmir. For last 2 years, I'm told, not a single boy has joined terrorism in Pulwama district. No, that is one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is, when the development happens, when the psychological barriers break, and when the linkages happen, that means interdependence, on the other side of the psychological and natural barriers would increase. And with that feeling coming in, Kashmir is on the absolutely right path, and I don't think this peace process is now, by any stretch of imagination, is irreversible. This is
Sir,
bound to
that's
go up, up, and up.
Thank you very much for joining me on that very positive note. I also want to bring in Tausif Shah of the PDP, Dr. Shama Mohammed of the Congress, and RP Singh of the BJP joining me on this show. Tausif Shah, in your appreciation, Chief Minister Omar Abdullah said the British had envisioned a railway link along the Jhelum River to Uri. They failed. He credited Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership that the Chenab Bridge is a reality. What does the bridge, in your appreciation, mean for the people of Jammu and Kashmir?
No, it's. I'm very thankful to you for giving me time to call on your show. It's a moment of very pride for every Indian. It's obviously a moment of pride for the people of Jammu and Kashmir who were waiting for this railway line since long, approximately for last 75 years. Since you know that transportation is normally a lifeline of any state, any city. So in that lifeline, the railway is number one lifeline, because you know we have bad weathers. We have weathers when a main national highway is not connected to the rest of India. So now, because of the railway, the fare prices of the air travel are going to be lowered, obviously. But there's one point that I'd like to bring through your India Today channel to whole the India, that we request that they have decided not to send any transportation trains on this track. It means that जो माल गाड़ी आती है, it's not permitted on this track. So what I request is that if we call it a lifeline, then being a lifeline, we have to have the माल गाड़ी service also on this track, because you know we have, as I already mentioned, that we have times when our road connectivity is not connected to the rest of India. So the prices shoot up. If you see in Jammu, the difference in the prices in Jammu and Srinagar is approximately 30% because of the track, because we have to load the things in truck from Jammu and bring it to Srinagar. So this is a request that we should, being Indians, being that this is a lifeline. Yes, we accept it, it's a lifeline, but this is a very humble request from my end that
Fair enough.
we should be given.
That's a pertinent point. Dr. Mohammed, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his address, said all the good work has been left for me to finish. The project was started earlier, of course, approved in 1995, declared of national importance in 2002, but completed only in 2025. And isn't the Prime Minister right that that final push that's required for completion, that motivation, that dedication, and that push comes in his tenure, or came in his tenure?
First and foremost, if this debate is till 8:30, do not invite your panelists, because I'm not going to come for a 10-minute debate again. There is no, there's no time for you to ask questions, and there's no time for us to answer.
And you wasted 30 seconds of that again. But go on, Dr. Mohammed.
Yeah. Okay. The other point is, the bridge is a wonderful thing for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. I agree on that. And this time taken, we have done enough and more developments. But what I am upset about is the Prime Minister of India visits Jammu and Kashmir only for inauguration. He came back from Saudi Arabia, and where did he run to? He came back and he ran for a rally in Bihar. After that, he went to Andhra Pradesh for another rally. Then he went to Trivandrum for the inauguration of Viranam Port and another inauguration. Then he went for some waves program in Mumbai. But my leader, Rahul Gandhi, he came back from the US on the 25th of the April. He went to meet the injured in the hospital in Pahalgam. Then on the 30th, he went to meet Shubham Dwivedi's family in Lucknow. And then on the 6th of May, he went to meet Vinay Narwal in Karnal. So this is Rahul Gandhi. And that's very important. The Prime Minister of India, when any leader, when an attack like this happens, first is that they visit the people and they visit the victim's family. Number two, you said your program is what? India First. I want to ask you today, why haven't you asked this Prime Minister, what action has he taken on Vijay Shah, who spoke against Sofia Qureshi? What action has he taken against Rambir Patania, who's an Udhampur MLA from Jammu and Kashmir, who said, Air Force, nalayak hai. What action has he taken? He has not taken any action. And number three, you said, will killing the Hindus alone by the Pakistanis, they picked, you mentioned, will it trigger a communal violence? What did Amit Shah say 3 days ago in West Bengal? He said, Mamata Banerjee does not stand with Operation Sindoor because she wants to protect her Muslim vote. That means the Muslims are against Operation Sindoor. Isn't that polarization? You send MPs all around the world saying united, we are against Pakistan. Here the Home Minister of India is insulting Muslims. Am I not for Operation Sindoor? Is the man from PDP not for Operation Sindoor? How dare the Home Minister talk in that language? There's no point of all this inauguration, everything, or sending people abroad when you day in and day out insult Muslims, you day in and day out insult the
you want
army.
to quickly
why
respond?
has Prime Minister not taken action? And why did the Prime Minister not go to Pahalgam before? Why did he not go to Jammu and Kashmir to meet the families?
RP Singh, you want to quickly respond to Dr. Shama Mohammed?
Well, he already has a grievance with you that you're not given a good time and you called her for a shorter period. But I have no grievances. When the CM of the Bengal supports a bill which has been approved by goes against a bill which has been approved by the center, by the parliament, and her member parliaments there says that we will ensure that whoever try to get through this bill will take out his eyes. So they are targeting a particular vote bank. And she said that I won't allow this to implement in my state. So they are targeting a particular vote bank. And in that context, it was said, it's not that anyone is doubting any Muslim in the country at all. Please, let's be very clear on this. But coming to the issue of what Prime Minister said, that's more important. That in spite of what has happened in Kashmir, in
Dr. Shama
Punjab,
Mohammed, you've had your say. You will have to wait till RP Singh completes his say, says what he wants to. Go on, RP Singh, complete your point, sir.
So, what he said today was that he will not let the Kashmiri or Jammu Kashmir down. I mean, because of whatever has happened, still the progress must go on. The way things have changed. When there is no stone pelting which is happening in Kashmir now, there is terrorism has come down in spite of the fact that this particular incident happened. But overall, as a numeric number, the terrorism has come down.
Okay.
And also that, yes, there is a lot of push on the development of the Kashmir, unlike the regime of the UPA, where they were scared of building roads along the border, saying that, if we build roads, China will encroach on our roads and then use our roads. So,
Sir, since you've directly raised a point, I wanted to bring in Tausif Shah, but Dr. Mohammed, you want to quickly respond to the point RP Singh is making, that there was no border, there was little border infrastructure development during the Congress regime, he says, because Congress was scared the adversary may use it. Now there's a big push on border infrastructure development, ma'am. Ma'am, you will have to unmute yourself, please.
30-second go on.
I don't
Go on,
care.
ma'am.
Okay, don't be like a child. Now, what I'm saying is that he can say whatever, that we are scared. How can we be scared? Who got Ajmal Kasab and hung him? Where are the 4 terrorists? Where are they? Tell me.
Who let the Ajmal Ali, who allowed Ajmal Ali to be given on a platter to Pakistan? Who gave Ajmal Ali on a platter to Pakistan? The person who was accused in Samjhauta Express.
Sir, I did not let her interrupt you. Please let her complete her point. Go on, Dr. Mohammed, complete your point, ma'am.
What I'm saying is, he says we are scared. We caught Ajmal Kasab. You haven't caught the 4 terrorists. You don't even know their names. Who are they? Where are they? Who is accountable for this? And no. He keeps saying that how many terrorist attacks have happened? People, migrant laborers, people going to doctors and killing them, taking out doctors from their homes, shopkeepers. This has never happened in the time of the Congress, and we know what happened in Pathankot. All the Air Force bases have been attacked, even though I'm not talking about Jammu and Kashmir, I'm talking about generally. So what you're saying is not right. And I want to know today, he's not able to answer.
Talking about
why there's no action against Vijay Shah? Why haven't you taken action on Vijay Shah when the Supreme Court of India pulled up your government in BJP
Ma'am,
government?
since today my show is on the railway bridge connectivity and development in Kashmir, I want to stay on the topic for the moment, but I want to bring in Tausif Shah on the point that Dr. Shama Mohammed raised, Mr. Shah, on migrant laborers or people from outside or pundits being targeted in Kashmir, even in these years, post 2019. Is there an effort to ensure that people from the rest of the country also feel safe in the Kashmir Valley, and whoever is targeting them, they are sorted out, sir?
So, let me just speak out on it. The main thing is that we have to see that there's a security lapse. there's been a major security lapse. So there have been many Pandit targeted, there have been many non-Muslims, and even Muslims have been targeted. It's not only non-Muslims, even Muslims have also been targeted. But we have to see that who is responsible for this. We are the highest militarized zone in world right now. We have approximately 1.2 million armed forces here. So why then are these things happening now?
So the people of Kashmir have no responsibility, is what you're saying. That, you know,
no, what are our security forces?
Usually the basic message
responsibility
is
comes
that
on everybody.
Terrorists, if they're operating in an area, they're like fish in water. If they have no local support, they cannot operate.
No, responsibility. If you now speak on the responsibility, then we have to start the responsibility from our borders. So how are they able to cross the borders? How are these arms, ammunition, the RDXs? How is it possible that they are bringing in? Like we all know that the biggest Pulwama attack, it has approximately 450 kilograms of RDX. Where did it come from? The border is approximately 350 kilometers away. No, approximately.
And Adil had no role to play. The local terrorists, his indoctrination, Jaish-e-Mohammed, no role to play. They were like little kindergarten children sucking lollipop, and suddenly they put RDX and blasted into a CRPF van.
There's always an exception. If we have seen that we can let us be straightforward and let's call
local support to terror is not important for you, is what you're saying, Tausif Shah.
Local terror. Yes, I accept that there's a local support of the terror.
Because let's at least call a spade a spade. Dr. Shamma Mohammed, you know, that local support to terror, I completely take that point about security forces. They need to be more vigilant, no doubt. But security forces also have to be supported by local population, Dr. Shamma Mohammed.
No, I totally agree. Whoever is guilty, one has to catch them, whether they come from inside or whether they come from outside. But he mentioned Jaish-e-Mohammed, you mentioned. Now, who released Masood Azhar? Who released him? The Bharatiya Janata Party. So let's understand who is behind these things. How dare they release him? I mean, this is not the way we deal with terrorists. Let me tell you one thing, Gaurav. You cannot and should not, India, ever negotiate with terrorists. We should have never released this Masood Azhar. And he's caused chaos in India, you know, from the parliament attack to this now, and continuous attacks done by him. Hafiz Syed is left loose. Masood Azhar is roaming free.
Ma'am, I completely agree with you. Right from the time when terrorists were released for Rubaiyat Saeed, Mehbooba Mufti's sister, you know, when terrorists were released in 1989-90, the beginning of terrorism in Kashmir Valley, I completely agree with you. But RP Singh, last 30 seconds. RP Singh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I got my timing a little awry, but go on. RP Singh, last 30 seconds on this part of the show.
Well, how can you forget Ajmat Ali, the person who was caught in Samjhauta Express, was given on platter to Pakistan after being caught, and there was no pressure. There was no arm twisting by any of the terrorist group. Just simply because you wanted to create a narrative of Hindu terrorism in country, you give a man on a platter. Not only that, the tears were rolling down when Batra House happened. You remember that? Mr. Saman Khurshid on record saying that the tears were rolling down her cheek.
Was all about development and Naya Kashmir, and I sincerely hope that remains the focus, or we will remain trapped in that narrative that the terrorist state across the border wants us to pursue. But we will pursue a narrative that's about a strong India that will continue to punish terror. With tensions high both in West Asia and in Europe, and India importing 85% of our crude oil, energy security remains one of India's biggest challenges. And in the 11th year of the Narendra Modi government, with me on this India Today special broadcast is Hardeep Puri, India's Petroleum Minister, a diplomat for over 39 years. Mr. Puri, welcome on India Today. Sir, your biggest challenges in today's day and age when you look at missiles flying in West Asia and in Europe?
Insofar as the energy sector is concerned, I don't think the issue of challenges is part of our, it's not an anxiety factor. At any given point of time, we import energy from 40 countries in the world. The Modi years have seen a diversification in terms of countries' origins of supply. We used to import from 27, we are importing from 39, now even from Argentina 40. We have a good story to tell, both in terms of diversification of imports, increase of exploration and production in crude oil and gas. Every year our gas production goes up, natural gas, by 18%. But we are still, because the economy is booming, last quarter was 7.5% rate of growth, or thereabouts. We still import 50% of our gas also. But there are some fantastic potential which is being realized. Our biofuels mix was 1.4, 1.5% in 2015. We are now doing 20%, 6 years in advance. As a result of which we have been able to pay our farmers 1 lakh crore by way of compensation. Our green hydrogen story is beginning to take shape. IOCL has just awarded a big tender to one of our companies. And if that is replicated, I can tell you, we buy $1.5 billion worth of energy. Last year it was $1.39 billion. This thing, it goes up also. We can substitute our domestic clean energy instead of this and increase our exploration and production.
Do we have a timeline on this, and especially on
I'll
exploration?
tell you what, timelines are very simple. In the oil and gas sector, never go for a timeline. In 1956, an economist in Shell said oil will peak by 2000. A lot of people made bad investment decisions. I can tell you, oil and gas will be required in the Indian economy for many decades to come. But green hydrogen is taking off, biofuels are taking off, CNG is taking off, CBG is taking off. I would say you can come to a point of how much green hydrogen we'll be able to produce. I think our current target of 5 million metric tons by 2030 is very conservative. If this tender works well and we replicate it, because all you need is low-priced clean solar energy and electrolyzers of a big scale, and we have both. I think in the coming years, India will not only be one of the largest refining centers, one of the largest consumers, but one of the most successful stories in green energy transition. Exact timelines I don't know, but I think between 2025 and 2035, you will have a very good transition taking place.
So next 10 years, you think are going to be extremely promising?
Yeah, because I'm going by the last 11 years. Because we were at 1.5% biofuel blending in 2014, we're at 20% now. So will this go up to 25% or 30%? I don't know, because the ecosystem has to grow with it. But green hydrogen, yes, I'm very, very confident that green hydrogen, because green hydrogen we can produce, it's the cost of production. I mean, today the last tender has brought it down from $5.50 per kilo, which was a global price, to less than $4. If we can now replicate on scale, it comes below $3, green hydrogen takes off.
Now, globally, where do we stand on ensuring that our diplomacy also helps us get more crude oil, cheaper crude oil, more sustained crude oil? In Russia, it did.
If you've been able to diversify from 27 countries to 40 countries, obviously your diplomacy has helped somewhere. But more than the diplomacy, I think it's the way Modi's India has positioned itself, largely because of the very clear, decisive guidance given by the Prime Minister. You remember there was a time when the Western press was going after us saying, oh, you're buying from Russia, Russia is under sanction. So I corrected them. Russia is not under sanction. Russian oil going to Hungary was exempt. Russian oil going to China was exempt through a pipeline. Russian oil going from Sakhalin to Japan was exempt.
True.
And all that we were told to do is buy within a price cap. No, that is music to my ears. I can buy from there and I can buy cheaper also. So at no stage have we accepted, and we were very clear. The Prime Minister's duty, moral duty, is to his consumers, his citizens. And today, therefore, we are buying from the Gulf, which is geographically proximate. We are buying from far-off places like Argentina also. We are buying a lot from Russia. And we will buy whoever can give us a particular grade of crude at the most reasonable, most economical price. We float tenders at the point of importation. And if you can deliver it at our port for the price at which you've tendered, we are happy.
Okay. In all of this, let me also quickly switch to another aspect that's, making headlines. The US president, he's talking about, you talk about Prime Minister being very decisive. The US president talks about him having played a role in bringing a ceasefire between India and Pakistan.
I think everyone on our side has already corrected it.
And yet he continues to say so.
No. That you're going into another area of discussion. I'm not going to succumb to the temptation of joining that discussion. Everyone in a decision-making thing has clarified it in our time that we got a request from the Pakistani side. In 22 minutes, please remember, 22 minutes, 9 of their sites, which were terror sites, hundreds of kilometers in, Muridke, Bahawalpur, the security infrastructure, Daito Tower, the evidence of that devastation is available in the public domain globally through commercially available satellite imagery. After that, they called us, the DGMO called us, and we responded. You can have 2 points of view, whether we should have hammered them more or not, but a democratically elected Prime Minister took the correct decision. And I think it's there. And after that, I don't want to get into that rest.
Please do.
No, I will not. I will come because you have to, there are responsible ways of dealing with country. I think the External Affairs Minister made it very clear. It was a bilateral request received from their DGMO, to which our DGMO responded, and that's the absolute fact.
And yet we have leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, saying Narendra surrender, and Modi said,
the leader of opposition to whom you referred is one of a kind. He's literally one of a kind. I don't think there are too many people like him. And if you were to compile all the statements he's made all over the years, so I was being interviewed by someone they're surprised. I said, what are you surprised at? That he's the leader of opposition, or you're surprised that he speaks that language? I would like the leader of opposition to concentrate with issues. If he doesn't have the familiarity, the functioning of his governments in Himachal and Karnataka, see what all is happening there. Insofar as this thing, he should not make any statement which either has the effect of undermining the official position of the security forces, and at least he should listen to his own party members who went as part of the all-party delegations outside. Their statements are on record. Why is it so difficult to be a Deshbhakt? Why do people in India have difficulty with that? Statements by at least 3 or 4 of their leaders come to my mind. Yeah. And I think if he only listens to that, he might gain something. He might learn something.
So by implication, are you saying that Rahul Gandhi is not being a Deshbhakt?
I didn't say that. You said it. No, he said you said some surrender or something. What is he talking about? Has he seen, compared to what his government did in 22 minutes, the devastation which was visible through satellite imagery? Who asked for the ceasefire there? The Pakistanis did, and we responded. So what is he talking about?
True. So, and when the US president in a conversation with the Russian president refers to his role in that ceasefire, or in the court of law, they mention that. You've served in the United States. Saying it in a court of law has massive ramifications. Why would they be doing that?
I would tell you one thing. I think we should keep our discussion to the Indian context, in the Indian bilateral context there, because you might be treading into territory. There is enough distraction there going on otherwise. And you could have a light-hearted conversation on those. I don't want to have that with you, because I'll say we have made it clear at the level of the External Affairs Minister that this was bilateral. By the way, that is consistent with the line we've always taken. We reject any third-party mediation, and that's been our position for a long time.
What do you make, sir, of Pakistan being on the UN Committee on Counter-Terrorism? Also, because you've served as a permanent representative at the United Nations, you understand the United Nations, and a country like Pakistan, a terror state, is on the counter-terrorism chair.
It's like this. It's very simple. Whenever a country is elected as a non-permanent member of the Security Council, all the committees which are available are handed out, distributed. The Counter-Terrorism Committee, or the 1973 committee, was earlier only headed by permanent members of the Security Council. When we came on the Security Council in 2011 and 12, I was appointed chairman of the 1973 or CTC, Counter-Terrorism Committee. And then I served on that for 2 years. Then when we were on the Security Council next time, our then PR, I think, Tirumurti also served on it for 1 year. Pakistan has not been appointed chair. It's one of the vice chairs, which has no significance. So if somebody's tom-tomming that around, you know, they divide the committees. In any case, Pakistan has to defend itself in terms of, whether TRP is going to be listed. It has to use that. Yeah. And many Pakistani entities are proscribed entities. People who live in Pakistan are in the proscribed entities in there. So I think the fact that Pakistan has used terror as an instrument of state policy is well known. So, and they happen to be a member of the UN Security Council for a 2-year period. Well, that's a given because it's going by rotation. But I'm absolutely sure that the focus, international focus on terrorism has been there, and it will be there even sharper on them.
So, as chair of Taliban committee and vice chair of counter-terrorism committee, it's not a cause for concern.
Of course, not at all. Not at all.
It will put the focus on that.
It will, and if they are there in any of these committees as vice chair or something, focus comes more on them. People catch on to these things. Yeah.
And the Indus Waters Treaty, when Pakistan says if Indus Waters Treaty is held in abeyance, that's an act of war, it's a violation.
Don't take Pakistani statements. You know, Pakistan statements and the statements of the honorable leader of the opposition are at the same level of irresponsibility. These are bilateral agreements between India and Pakistan by the World Bank. The situation has changed since then. If one commits acts of terror, which is taking away the most fundamental right of all, which is the right to life, and killing innocent people, you don't expect us. PM has made it clear, no combination of talks with terror, none. Unlike the Congress government, if terror attack hota tha, it would sit down on the negotiating table. No trade with talks, unlike the previous Congress government, and water and blood don't mix. I think it's absolutely a given, and all these friends of Pakistan or here or elsewhere, they will get the message loud and clear. Operation Sindoor has set a new template, a new benchmark. There's 22 minutes of that operation. By the way, the operation is not over. It is an ongoing operation. And I would urge caution by those who seek to do this some of loose talk, that any act of terror will be viewed as an act of war. That is the fundamental change, and that the Indian state and the political arm and our armed forces will act with a degree of resoluteness, vehemence, and without restraint. And all this business about, X, Y, Z, nuclear, this, that, I think that bluff has been called, and it will be called even more effectively if there is misbehavior of that type.
So you're not worried about Field Marshal Asim Munir being at the helm of affairs?
What did you say, Field Marshal? What did you say?
Field Marshal Asim Munir.
No, I'm not worried, no.
And so the nuclear bogey doesn't
you see, the point is, in this area of social media and people putting memes or whatever they're called around, there are a lot of funny stuff going around. But I think people in responsible positions should also step back and say that, if they say something which is irresponsible, it can be magnified in terms of the extent of irresponsibility and in the extent of self-inflicted wounds. And I think some of these people are going through that just now.
Mr. Puri, for joining me here on this India Today special broadcast, many thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.